Hey everybody, happy Wednesday. I hope things are going well. As you jump on, say hi so I know that you're here. Um, I don't know, it's been a stressful week for me, so I thought I would lean into my roots and color something that means something to me. So, yeah, we'll get into it. I had a conversation with my bestie earlier today, and she was saying that images that have hash marks in it or artist drawn shading in it, hi Lisa, um, intimidate her and she's not sure how to color it. And my response was that they're easier to color because you already know where to put the shading. In fact, if you're somebody who has a limited supply of markers, now you guys know that I will always go with Copics or some sort of alcohol marker, but this is true with watercolor. This is true with any type of medium, even your ink blending with brushes. So kind of pay attention to the rules and maybe not necessarily to the medium. Now, if you want to know more about alcohol markers, obviously pay attention to what I'm doing, but we are using the He Refreshes My Soul stamp set. Like I said, it's been a kind of an intimidating week for me. Kind of have questioned all kinds of things. The holidays are kind of hard for me, and this is the time of year that I really have to lean into my faith. So I just thought that this would be a great stamp set. So it says, He refreshes my soul. Like a cool sip of water, your friendship refreshes me. I will refresh the weary and satisfy the faint. So this is good for friendship, or if you're looking for any type of, kind of a religious or not, you've got it. So this is a well, or a bucket to fill the well with, and we're going to get into this. Hi, Sandy Andrews. Hi, Judy. How are you guys? Sandy Andrews, I'm so glad that you're here with me today. I'm glad that you called me out and asking me if I was going to do a live, because honestly, I was questioning if I even wanted to do a live today, and it's usually the days that you don't want to do a live are the days that you should do one. And that's why I chose this stamp set. So I've got my sticky mat in my Misty. That's why I don't use any type of magnet. This is hot off the presses as far as I've never used it before. Now we're not going to make a card today. We're just going to go over the coloring and some of the ideas that I have. So I'm just centering this in an A2 card. If I was going to make this into a card, I would probably put it up top. That way you'd have enough room to put a sentiment, kind of like a Polaroid-ish look. So, Sandy, I'm so glad that you needed to. And for all of you watching, just to give you a heads up, I have marked down the He Refreshes My Soul stamp set by 20%, and that's going to be good for 24 hours. I always give you guys who are my faithful friends a chance to grab things at a discount, because I truly do appreciate you. I am using Copic friendly ink. This happens to be Maker Forte's. You could use Memento. I know that Hero Art has one. A couple different companies have it, but since this is a new stamp that's never been used, I'm really being kind of heavy with the ink, and I'm using my Misty and my stamp press tool that we have in the shop. I really do appreciate that, Lisa. I'm glad that you're able to join us, and hopefully this could be a bright spot in your day, especially if you're having the stress of work. I am going to have to ink that up. I think I have an air bubble in my Misty, which is why I didn't get a great, like an air bubble in my sticky mat. That's why I didn't get a great impression the first time, but that's the beauty of a Misty, is you can put the ink down as many times as you need. Now I'm really going in with some elbow grease to get this going. And there we go. We're still missing a spot. Right there. Sorry for the shake. All right, now we're completely colored. Now, typically when you use like Memento, or in my case the Color Hive ink, you can it dries pretty fast, but since I stamped this down 3 times, you guys are gonna have to ignore my gun here. Yep, Sean is in the house. Sean is going to be the entertainment for the night. Hopefully no glitter bombs. I'm sure you guys will come up with something else at my expense to make fun of. But yeah, Sean's always the entertainer. He's always the jokester. So you guys can have fun at my expense with him. So this is basically wood grain all the way through. But what I'm going to kind of zoom in here. So where all these marks are, you automatically have your areas of where your scary darks will go, where your shadows will go, and where your highlights will go. So it takes the guesswork out of it. I am going to start with the metal stripes that would be on the metal strips that will be on the barrel, just because that sort of makes sense to me. So I'm going to use markers C9, 7, and 5. We might bring in a different color later on. So the artist already put some shadow here. Typically when I do round things, I leave my highlight right down the center so that we can show some sort of highlight area, but we're still going to work that in. So I'm going to extend that just a little bit here. Nope, hanging out with the birds. They scream when she crafts. Oh, that's true. So Gracie, who is our cockatoo, she is totally my bird, even though she's not my favorite one. She is, let me see. She loves me, and if I'm not in her view, she is always screaming, so that's why Sean babysits them. One of these days we're going to get Sean on a live with us, but for right now we're going to leave that alone. So you can see that I extended that C9 into the 7, and now we're going to use a 5. So the key is that we're skipping steps so that we get a good differentiation. Now when I do metal, a lot of times I will even go down to a C3, but I've never seen like a barrel or even a whiskey barrel that has like a shiny motif to it. So that's why I'm leaving that as a dark gray. So I'm coming back in with that C9 again, following that artist drawing lines, and I'm good. Even though there weren't a lot of hash marks here, since we did it up here, we're gonna do it down in the bottom rung as well. But to be honest with you, I really like coloring objects where the artist is already drawn in the lines, because it takes the guesswork out for me. I don't have to worry about the light source. I mean, I know it seems intimidating, but it's the easiest. I say that all the time. I just colored a house mouse image, and it literally took me, I don't know, 20 minutes or so to color, just because all of that work had been done for me. Now this part here, that's like the brackets holding up the shelf, I'm going to color those the same black. Now you notice that I tend to stick to one color and I don't do it all at one time, and that's because it's what makes sense to me. You could have this bracket be wood, but we've got so much wood grain going on that I want some differentiation in that. So there's going to be a cast shadow here underneath where this bench is. So I'm just adding a little bit there. There's going to be a cast shadow here, and it's going down. And where this meets, where the two brackets meet, there's also going to be a little bit of a shadow. So this is, like I said, I think it's very easy once you break it down. And one of my Copic instructors a long time ago said that if you take things piece by piece and don't like concentrate on the big picture, but you just kind of stick to the smaller parts, it all starts to make sense. So that's what I'm following now. I went in with my mid-tone down here, and I left a big white spot. That's so that we have the lightest color there, so we have some differentiation. I will later come in with my white gel pen to add even more highlights. Because I say this a lot. We talked about this, I think, last week, or no, 2 weeks ago, that where there's dark, there will be light. And so if you put your highlight, like your white gel pen, where it's the darkest, it's going to make everything pop. So that's kind of the key. All right, hi Linda, how are you? I haven't seen you for a while. The lines make it so much easier. Give them a try, says Judy. When I first started coloring, I was petrified to even attempt this kind of coloring. And finally I decided to tackle it, and it ended up being one of the best decisions I ever made. My pups are in the room with me, so if you hear them shaking their heads, Sean, you want to come in the camera and say hi?
No, I just want to see that she's got the same hair color as you.
Yeah, this is Gracie. And she loves me. Can you guys see her? She's, I shampooed her with purple shampoo, and so she's a tie-dyed bird. Last week is when I colored her, so she was actually more purple at the time. You can leave her up here, it's fine.
Okay.
Yeah. That way she won't scream and you can have some peace. So what do you guys think of my bird? Sandy says her mom has an umbrella and 2 grays. One of my very good friends has an African gray. Oh my gosh, that bird tweets and tweets and tweets. I know that there are probably going to be people out there who think I did the wrong thing by shampooing her with purple, but my other shampoo has a lot of tea tree oil and other essential oils, and I figured that that would probably irritate her skin more. And since they've got all the waxes and the dust in their feathers, 9 times out of 10 you don't even get all the way down to the skin. So it was just mainly I gave her a nice tie-dye, and she matches my shirt and my hair. So this is Gracie. This is the screamer. She's the one that Sean has to babysit. All right, so we've done the brackets so far. Let's go into the barrel, the wood barrel. So in theory, we're going to have to use a lot of different browns to make all this make sense. Does she like that shampoo? You know, I don't know that she hates it. I don't know that she loves it. She definitely likes to take a shower, and she loves to be blow dried. So I don't know about the shampoo, but sometimes you just gotta do what you gotta do. So we've got the inside of this barrel, and so I'm putting a really dark highlight shadow, so that the top of it will be brighter, and I'm going to extend that just a hair. And then there's like a screw that holds that, or a hole that holds that in, so I'm going to put a shadow there, and I'm just going to extend that up just a little bit. There's going to be a shadow where that rope is, and that's about all that we're going to do. And the reason I'm doing so little is that this is the darkest color, and I do know that the inside is going to be darker than the outside, so I'm just using the E57, and I'm going to color this all the way down. Because again, where there's dark, there's light. When my mom changes the bird water, they take a bath in their water dish. Oh, what a mess. So, Sandy, you're absolutely 100% right. My birds do make a mess. They like to put all their food and they poop in it. They do everything. So we went to a water bottle system for a couple of reasons. One was because they like to make messes, and two, because I got tired of clean and poopy water. But when I was traveling as much as I wanted to make sure that they had clean water all the time. Sean works really long hours. God bless him. And so I wanted him to, if there was a day that he was not able to clean the water, then at least they would have clean water in their bowls. But I do try to take each of them in the shower a couple times a month at least. Gracie especially needs a shower because she's a very dusty bird. Denise, that's my friend Denise. She is a friend of mine. What I call real life. That she's she lives like a couple miles from me, and we do lunch and we're friends. We've been friends for a while. Anyway, she's got Homie, the African gray, and boy, he's a talker, but he doesn't poop in his water. My birds are disgusting. Now I'm using the E55. And we're doing basic blending here. So sometimes when you do wood, you do a lot of the striations, but the artist has done most of that for you. I am, however, going to come in with a warm gray, and we're going to add some texture. So we have a blue and gold macaw, who actually is my favorite. And when I started traveling last spring, she decided to start picking. In the matter of 24 hours, she was a very naked bird. And so we've got her on hormone shots and implants, and she's starting to get her down feathers in. But the minute that wears off, she tries to start right back. But BB's down there hanging with Sean. They are the best of buds. I think BB would have his babies if that was, physically possible. Her eyes dilate when he walks in the room, and she screeches as soon as she hears his car pull up. So here we are. We put some texture in. So you saw that I did that top texture a whole lot different, and that's just because I'm just trying to show you different ways to color wood textures. Now we're coming in with the E57. I'm kind of extending that, but you're seeing that now I'm kind of getting messy with it. So we're going to kind of get the gnarliness of the wood. Nerdy Crafter's asking for the brown combination. Do I have a pen? So far, that's where we're at. We're at E59, 57, and 55. So the reason I'm writing on this is because I'm going to end up cutting that out, and I'll just pop it up on a card. So that's the one. E59, 57, and 55 is all that we've done so far. Now I'm coming in with the E55, and I'm kind of filling this in. And again, I'm leaving some white space, and it's going to look like it's a mess before it gets any better. We're going to go ahead and we're going to go back to our E59. So last time you saw me kind of draw a really kind of thick line here, and that's what we call cast iron, a cast shadow, because the iron that's on top would cause a shadow. Now down here we've got really small tick lines, and then we're going to have a really big shadow here around, I don't know, is that a dipping spoon? What is that? Somebody help me with the words. What is this thing? All right. But regardless, I'm putting in a nice shadow there around the cup. A ladle. Sean says it's a ladle. Everybody's now gonna, every time I say something, they're gonna be like, ladle. And I'm extending that shadow all the way across, doing some tick marks. Now we're coming in with E55. Do you see how that's starting to come together? Now, for this top rim, I'm coming in with the lightest color in spaces. And I'm coming in with E57. He's down there yelling at BB. She's not behaving. BB does not behave. She's not a good bird. I don't know if you know this about birds, but birds want what birds want, and they don't really care what you want or what's going on. She's got her back to me, you guys. So now I'm going to bring in a W3 and a W5. And that's to add some shading. I'm actually going to, I'm going to do the W3. It's always easier to go in light and then add the dark. Big spoony thing. Sean knows me. It's like, big spoony thingy. That's it. So he had chili, leftover chili for dinner. And I had some chicken noodle soup because my stomach has not been friendly. And I think I actually said, where's the big spoony thing? I actually looked for it. So do you see how that's starting to fill in now? But wait, let's go in with this W5. You have to remember that if this is dipping into the well, that this is going to be gnarly. It's not going to be like a perfect barrel that you would get at Home Depot. It would be just beat to heckin' back. And I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to dot that hole in because there would be a lot of darkness there. Do you want to say hi again? Come on. Say hi to everybody. This is how she, watch. See that? Oh, she's not. See how she puts her head down? She snuggles with me like this all day long. It's nothing for me to wake up to two dogs, a cat, and a bird on me in the morning. So, there we go. All right, so since we've got this wood and it's kind of dark-ish, we're gonna go with a different tone for the shelf. Now I'm going to tell you that the color combination that I'm using is more for like khakis. It's perfect for a khaki green. So it's E99, 87, 84, and 81. So if your Copic free marker, this is a multi-liner, if it's that dry and it leaves all that stuff, I probably need to replace a nib and I probably need to refill it. I have not ever bought one. So that'll be on my Santa's list. I left out an area there. So I am breaking my rules now. I'm kind of mapping stuff out. So most Copic colorists will tell you to use your lightest color and then use your darkest. I always go darkest to light because that's what makes sense to me. But you do however you've learned. So I'm putting a huge cast shadow here because that's, that would be a natural shadow. And then the artist put in a tick line there, and they put tiny ones here, and they put a few here and a few there. and then they extended it down. I always turn my paper so that it's easier for me to feather in my colors. But of course, you do what makes sense to you. I'm also going to extend it this way. And maybe just a hair this way. My nose is itching like crazy, you guys. Alright, still looks like a hot mess. I am like, why is your mother umbrella talking? Oh, right, the bird. Oh my, Sean is saying the next things the bird is going to mimic is you do you. Probably true. Say it too many times in these videos. So now this is the E87. Now this is starting to get a little bit on the muddy side, you guys. So I'm going to leave a lot of room there for the highlight or the mid-tone color. The mid-tone color is the E84. Like I said, this is more of a khaki color than a wood color. So I'm going to leave a lot of that, and then I am going to come in. All right, I'm being daring. I think I'm going to come in with this Y26 and brighten it up. Just give it a little bit of a gold tone. Otherwise, it was going to kind of blend in with the bucket. And we're going to show you how to make that not blend. So you see that this area here I skipped. That would be the third rung of the wrought iron. So I'm going in with my C9, my C7, and my 5. If you can't get all three colors in, then do a C9 and a C5. Y26 bingo. There we go. It's resembling white pine with algae from the wet water bucket. Okay. I love your interpretation, Lisa. All right, so let's do the rope. Now this rope is a tiny, tiny area. So we're going to start with an E42. She is being good, Denise. Maybe I need to keep her up here more when I color. And now Sean's going, been telling you that for years. And so the E42 is the lightest color, and then I'm going to come in with some E43. And you could go in with a darker color, but I don't want it to all blend into the same color. What color would you guys like to see this ladle? Any preferences? Do you want black? I think black is too dark because we've got a whole lot of wood that we need to color in here still. Old metal color. Okay. Don't write this down yet, nerdy crafter. We're gonna muddle this up a hair. This is an experiment for me because I haven't thought about old dirty metal for a while. So I'm starting with my Y11, which will be my lightest color or my highlight color. From there, I am going to bring in an E18, which is a copper color. So I just brought in scratch piece of paper to see how everything blends. And that's something I do often if I'm questioning what I actually want to do. So we had an 18, a 17, a Y26, I'm sorry, Y28, Y26. And do you see how that combination, like they don't really go, but it would look like an old piece of metal. So I'm going to come in lightly with this E18. And I'm putting some darkness kind of in the bottom. And I'm kind of feathering that in, not a perfect blend. And I'm going to give a little bit up here. See how we're starting to get that shine? So whenever you're not sure of your blend, I always recommend messing with it like on a scrap piece of paper and then putting it down, because you can, sometimes it's hard to take color away. So it's easier to practice first, do as I say, not as I do kind of thing. Do you see how that's starting to come together? BB heard me say, Feather, not happy with you for commenting on her current dress. Well, you know what? I'm not real happy with her current dress attire either. She just needs to get over it. Now bringing in this Y26. Now we have a nice kind of old metal vibe going on. Now, with that said, I am not liking the amount of shadow that's over here, because it's kind of, it's sort of competing. So I took my W3. And so by taking your grays, here's a really good tip for anybody who's new to coloring. If you don't have all the colors, you can use your cool grays, your warm grays, your toner grays, and you can knock colors back. So you don't need all of the colors. I need all the colors because I'm sick in the head, but you don't have to have it. So by knocking this back a little bit with a warm gray, and you notice I'm not like overworking that. I'm just putting in like a nice glaze and then I'm done. All right. So we still need to talk about how to make some of this pop, and it's going to be a matter of putting in a lot of shadow. Sandy, did you hear my synopsis about my breakdown on colors this week? Or I think you saw it on a post earlier today, and I kind of gave my opinion without being overly opinionated. So you can take that as you see fit on the colors. All right, so I had a request for pine. So I think we're going to start with the E51 and the 53. And I'm sorry, the 50, 51, and E53. We might add in a 55. I haven't made up my mind yet. Yeah, that one, Sandy. If you have any questions about that, you can definitely text me afterwards, and we can talk more about what my opinion was. But I jumped out of that conversation, kind of quick, because everybody's got an opinion, and that's where I was leaving it. So, hey, Nerdy Crafter. So now that you see this with all the tick marks, what are your thoughts on this? Since you and I were talking about that earlier today. You know, standing back to that, I think everybody has their own budget. They have what they've worked with, what they are used to working with, and what they have time to learn. And that's why I kind of gave a synopsis of the three that I have experience with. Like, Sean has the Ahuhu. He's never going to probably get into Copics because I won't share mine. And so for him, Ahuhu was a very affordable option. They're not my cup of tea, but I'm not opposed to them. And what I liked about it was that they are now, they're now refillable, and they also come in a brush nib. So if you get the Ahuhu Honolulu, you can get a full set for like $200. I have not played with them enough to give a full scenario of what I think. I don't think that they're as good as Copics, but you're probably not going to ever get me to say that there's something better than Copics until there is one, and then I could be proved wrong. Okay, so my darkest color right now is still the E53. And I am going to come in with that E55 eventually. But this whole area here would be under, would actually be a shadow. Now I'm going to finish this off with the E50. And you see it, I'm making just really long strokes. I'm not trying to get full coverage. I'm just trying to give some weathered wood effect to this. Now, let's find the E55. So where some of these dots are, I'm just going to stipple in some of the texture. And where some of the boards overlap, you can start putting in some lines. Sean says that there's a couple jokes in that statement that I had to censor. Let's just say he's not a funny guy tonight. If you guys could hear our commentary back and forth all the time, you would just probably pee your pants. My husband is extremely funny. He's very witty. Sometimes has a dry sense of humor. So, like, you don't expect him to say things, and then all of a sudden he does, and I don't know. He's too much. When I first started dating him, I called him the Pope because I was scared to death of, you know, he was such a good person, way better person than me. He still is. He's such a good guy. Like, he's like the most fair person I know, and almost to the point that it doesn't help him. So now I'm starting to put some of the shadow in here, like under the shelf. And again, doesn't have to be perfect. All right. Starting to look a little bit like a hot mess. I think that we should go in with a W. I don't know. You're seeing me think, guys. Enough, Sean. Don't even say it. There's no smoke coming out of my ears. We're just fine. we're going to use a W2. And we're going to start putting some texture in. So now we're just aging this pine as if it's outside. Do you hear that squeaking of my marker? That's because it's in desperate need of being refilled. So when you hear a squeak on your markers, it's really a smart thing to stop what you're doing and refill them. Do as I say, not as I do. All right. So I feel like that this is still kind of dark. Now, I'm probably going to freak a few people out. This is the BV23. I am not brave enough to go in with the BV25, but the BV20 family are like chameleons. They kind of change color based on what you're coloring, but they're really good for shadows. So there's going to be a shadow here underneath the shelf. And I'm kind of extending that out. There's going to be a big shadow here where the wood planks are. Okay. There's going to be another shadow here. And here. I'm not going to go all the way up the ladle. So we're starting to get some cast shadows. I am going to bring in that BV25. Now I want you guys to see how dark this color really is. I mean, it's pretty scary. But now I'm putting in that cast shadow here. And around the ladle. There should be a cast shadow here where the rope is. Okay. We could even put a little bit of one around the corner. Because now we're going to give it the round effect by feathering in this dark color towards the center. I'm even going to put a cast shadow here. What's everybody think? Dear, nothing looks dark under that stadium lighting in there. Hey, you know what? I had a really cool guy that installed that lighting, and it's amazing. All right, so how do we make the dark come to life? We add highlights. And I am going to use my Uniposca pen. Maybe. I had one that I left the cap off of. And of course, that's the one I grabbed. Alright, so we're going to use a Jelly Roll pen. So we've already got a highlight here in that rim, but we're just going to extend it. We're going to put one here. And I like to kind of do a corner to make that pop. There would be a highlight here and here in the shelf. I think there would be some sort of brilliance here and at the top. I think it would be okay to put one. You see, I always put a line, that I do like a couple dots, and that's just, I don't know, I guess that's my style. We did not color. So I'm going in with that BV25, and right where that hole is, where the rope is coming out, I'm really dotting that in, and I'm doing that in the hole here in the wall, and then I'm just going to color those, the needles, or the nails, excuse me. Let's put a highlight here in the top. And then right where I said there was a hole for the rope to go feed through, I also put a highlight around that. So I darkened it and then I lightened it. What do you guys think? Hi Becky, how are you? You have been doing some amazing projects with our You Warm Our Heart digital stamp. And I'm just going to say to all that if you like that little penguin set, you might have more to look forward to coming up soon. Because I think he's adorable, and there might be some additions to our project. So that's how I did this. Now you could definitely change this up. You could do whatever you wanted with it. I think I actually maybe would go with a lighter bucket, and then a darker background. That would make it pop too. But that, you know, I'm just going by what the audience said. Yeah, Sean's saying that Gracie colored this, and yeah, this is kind of where we're at tonight. Are there any questions or anything? You know, I want to keep tinkering with this. It's killing me. I'm just accentuating the shadows between the boards. And that's with the W3. You could use a W1 or W5, whatever kind of floats your boat. But that's what I have for tonight. Yeah, Sandy's saying, tinker away. Yeah, I will literally, when I... Oh, that's doing it for me, guys. What do you think? I think it needs some distressing like this. So by using a W, we are aging the pine. Just as if it were outside. And I'm trying to make the strokes all different lengths. Alright, so I think just adding that little bit of shadow really has made a difference in this. And you could go as wild with it as you wanted. This is a W5. And if I can find my W3 in this pile of markers, we might add some more. There it is. It's just kind of a haphazard. You just keep playing until you get the texture the way you want it to be. Now here's a fact. If you were to keep extending it from both ends and you left this big wide area, you would actually make it look like the wood was bowed. So at some point you've got to stop. You can't just like keep adding the color, but when you add the darkness, you are bringing the scene more to life. All right, I think I'm done, guys. Looks like when it soaks up the water. Exactly. That's kind of what I'm going for. It's like you kind of want it to look like it's aged, weathered, that kind of thing. So then for that, we can, so when I cut this, I line up my dark line with the guide bar of my trimmer, because I'm sure I didn't stamp it square, like, you know, like perfectly aligned. So I just make sure that I have that guide bar in the same spot. And by doing that, you're getting the perfect amount of space around it at all times. Do I have a piece of black around here? Nope, but I got brown, so brown works. But look how pretty that is, just like that, and you're not having to use any extra dyes or anything like that. And then you could take one of these sentiments, you could either do it on a piece of white or you could emboss in white. So for me, I lost my embossing tool today, and when I say lost, it's just somewhere in my room. So I'm not going to emboss this today, but you could just very easily finish off your card just like that. Or you could make it like a strip, and then you could add just a few gems and you could be done. I don't know. Amanda's saying it would look great with an embossing folder on the brown. So Amanda, probably when we are done with this, I will use your recommendation and go from there. But I think that this turned out to be really pretty, really simple, and really with all of this texture, you don't have to do a whole lot. So anyway, I think that this is it. Again, thanks so much for hanging out with me. The what is this called again? He Refreshes My Soul. This is on sale for 20% off for you guys that are on the live. This will be good for 24 hours. If you want to pick it up, I tend to always put some sort of sale up for you guys because you guys are my loyal customers and I love you to pieces. All right. Sean just said that I should handwrite a sentiment with white crayon. Well, you know what? If I did that, we would never be able to read it. So we'll finish this card up off camera, and I'll see you guys next Wednesday. For all of you guys that have applied for the design team call, you guys should be hearing something in the next day or two. I think everybody, we had such an overwhelming amount of people apply. I can't choose everybody, but I am certain that we're going to have a fantastic team come January. And guys, I keep telling you this, I am absolutely in love with our new release. I colored it over the weekend. I haven't made cards with it, but I literally cried when I opened up the stamps. And then when I started to color it, I was like, oh my God, I'm coloring my babies. And legitimately, it did. It felt like I had my babies in hand, and I never thought that coloring my own stamps was going to be so much fun. And I just hope that in January when they're released that you guys will be as excited as I am. So if I don't see you before Christmas, Merry Christmas, Happy New Year. I will be going live on the 21st, All right, we're just going to pull out the phone. We're going to find out what that date is. On the 20th. So the 20th, which is Wednesday before Christmas, I will be going live. So I'll see you guys then if you're here. All right, take care. Bye-bye.